He didn't see it coming. One moment, she was there, laughing at his jokes, answering his texts, making time for him even when she was exhausted. She gave him the kind of attention most men silently crave. But then everything changed. She didn't get angry. She didn't beg or plead. She didn't even explain. She just pulled back. No drama, no warning, just space. And that silence, it echoed in his mind louder than anything she had ever said. At first, he thought it was nothing. Maybe she was just busy. Maybe it was just a phase. But as the hours turned to days, something strange happened. He started to miss her. Not just her presence, but the way she made him feel. Her absence created a space he didn't know existed. A space filled with questions, regret, curiosity. He wondered if she had moved on, if she still thought about him, and most of all, why her silence affected him more than her words ever did. This video will uncover the hidden psychology behind why pulling back, without saying a word, can sometimes make someone desire you more than ever before. It's not manipulation, it's human nature. When something we value suddenly becomes distant, the mind doesn't let go, it clings harder. Today, we'll explore what happens inside a man's brain when a woman stops chasing. We'll talk about emotional distance, the power of silence, and how just one quiet shift can turn the tables completely. If you've ever given too much, loved too openly, or wondered why someone only started missing you after you stopped trying, stay with us. Welcome to NeuroVista, where we unlock the psychology of love, respect, and human connection. Don't forget to hit subscribe and join our growing tribe of curious hearts and deep thinkers. Let's begin. The power shift. When she stops chasing. He had always known she would be there. It was like clockwork. Every morning his phone would buzz, and there she was. Her message, always eager, always ready to share something. It was the rhythm of their relationship. She chased, he responded. It was familiar, comfortable, even predictable. But one day, something shifted. It wasn't anything dramatic. No big fight, no obvious reason, but it was undeniable. She stopped calling first. It started subtly. She took longer to reply. Then she stopped initiating. At first, he didn't notice. He told himself it was nothing. But then the silence stretched on longer than usual, and his fingers hovered over the screen, waiting. There was no good morning message, no playful check-in, just nothing. And in that silence, it was deafening. The space she left behind felt like a hole in his chest. The once steady flow of dopamine, the rush of anticipation every time he heard from her, suddenly stopped. His brain was craving it. He wasn't just missing her presence. He was missing the feeling she gave him, the attention, the connection, the certainty that she was always there, always chasing. But now, he felt a panic building, a fear he hadn't expected. Was she losing interest? Was she slipping away? Had someone else caught her attention? His mind raced with 1,000 questions, but no answers. And the more the silence lingered, the more he wanted to fill it. He started to crave her more, but he couldn't reach out like he used to. He couldn't let her see that he was desperate. It was the cruelest kind of reverse psychology. She had stopped chasing, and in doing so, she made him want her more than he ever had before. The less she gave, the more he wanted. He started questioning himself. Why was I so sure of her attention before? Why do I need it now? It was the classic play of dopamine withdrawal. The brain's chemistry was shifting. Desire spiked, but it was tangled with the fear of loss. The fear that he might never get her attention again. And that fear, it was the spark that made him desperate to have her back. In that silence, the power shifted, and suddenly, he found himself wanting to chase her the way she had once chased him. What he feels when she pulls back. He could feel it the moment she pulled back. The silence wasn't just the absence of her words. It was louder. Every time he looked at his phone, his heart sank a little. No message, no, "Hey, what's up?" No random thoughts to share, just a blank screen. He started checking her socials, like a detective looking for clues. He clicked her profile, scrolled through her feed, searching for any hint of what was going on. But all he found was a facade, a smile in every picture, laughter in every caption. It was as if nothing had changed. But he knew better. The more he searched, the more questions filled his head. Where was she? Why wasn't she reaching out? Had something happened? Was someone else getting her attention? Every minute felt like a mystery, and the worst part, he couldn't solve it. It wasn't just curiosity, it was obsession. It was the Zeigarnik effect in action. When something is unresolved, our minds fixate on it. The brain doesn't like incomplete information. It wants to finish the puzzle, close the loop, find the answer. And right now, the answer he needed was her. The answer was why. Why had she stopped trying? Why had she pulled away? And the longer he waited for an answer, the more he couldn't focus on anything else. He couldn't stop thinking about her. He couldn't stop searching for that next piece of the puzzle. And it wasn't just the waiting that ate at him. It was the feeling that came with the scarcity of her attention. The more she pulled away, the more her absence seemed to magnify her presence. When she was always there, he took it for granted. But now, with the space she had created, she became more valuable. His mind told him that if he wanted her back, if he wanted her attention, he'd have to fight for it. The scarcity of her affection made her seem more precious, more desirable. The silence was no longer just empty space. It was a challenge, a puzzle to be solved. The more he tried to figure her out, the more his mind circled back to her. And the more he checked, the more he realized. He needed her. He couldn't let go. Why women often make the mistake of overgiving. She cared. That's why she chased him. She wanted to be there for him, to show him how much he mattered, to make sure he knew he was important. So she gave, and gave, and gave some more. Every time he needed something, she was there. She sent the messages first. She made the plans. She took the emotional load. She thought that by giving him everything, she could make him feel wanted, needed, desired. But here's the thing about overgiving. It kills the desire. At first, he didn't notice. He loved the attention, the care, the consistent presence. But after a while, it started to feel too much. He didn't have to work for it anymore. There was no mystery, no chase. She was always there, ready to fill the silence, ready to show how much she cared. And the more she gave, the less he felt like he needed to pursue her. She thought that if she made herself emotionally available, he would fall deeper for her. But without the balance of mystery, something shifted. She became predictable, no longer a mystery to be uncovered. Instead, she was an open book, pages turning too quickly, leaving nothing to wonder about. Desire thrives on the unknown. It thrives on space, on the moments where you're left wondering, where is she? What's she doing? Why isn't she reaching out? It's the gap, the absence, that keeps someone coming back for more. When everything is given up front, when every part of her heart is laid bare with no room for discovery, the attraction starts to fade. It's a simple psychological principle. When something is always available, we start to take it for granted. The thrill of the chase evaporates. And when the thrill is gone, so is the desire. What she didn't realize was that emotional availability, without the right amount of space, makes pursuit feel unnecessary. She had made herself too easy to get, and in doing so, she had stopped being the mystery he wanted to solve. She had stopped being the chase. And without the chase, the spark begins to die. How pulling back sparks obsession. She stopped chasing. One day, she simply pulled back. No big announcement, no dramatic speech. She just shifted. Instead of focusing on him, she started focusing on herself. Her mornings weren't filled with wondering what he was doing or planning when to message him next. Instead, she laughed more. She spent time with friends. She took care of herself, body, mind, and soul. Slowly, she began to glow in ways she hadn't before. It wasn't just about the way she looked. It was the energy she gave off. There was a new light about her, a sense of calm and confidence that radiated from within. She didn't need anyone's approval. She was content with who she was, exactly where she was. And suddenly, he noticed. At first, he didn't know what was different. He had always seen her as attractive, but now something about her pulled him in deeper. Her presence seemed bigger, more captivating. The way she smiled, how her eyes sparkled when she laughed. It was as if the air around her had shifted. He found himself drawn to her in ways he hadn't before. He couldn't stop thinking about her. He started wondering what had changed. What was she doing? What he didn't realize was that her absence, her shift in focus, had created a sense of mystery. And mystery was magnetic. The more she pulled away, the more he wanted to understand her, to figure her out. The more he wondered what she was up to, the more his mind fixated on her. and that fixation turned into obsession. Self-worth creates mystery. When she stopped giving all of herself, when she started living for herself and not for him, it made her more intriguing. The more she focused on her own happiness, the more elusive and unattainable she became. And that drove him crazy. In the absence of her constant presence, he started to crave the moments when she was around. He didn't want just any attention. He wanted her attention. The attention she gave when she felt like it, when it was on her terms. The less she gave, the more he wanted. And in that space, she became more desirable, more powerful. How to do it right, without playing games. It's tempting, isn't it? The idea of pulling back and playing the silent game, ghosting for a little while, just to make him want you more. But here's the thing, that's not the move. Ghosting only leaves confusion and hurt. It's not about disappearing completely, leaving him in the dark, wondering what happened. That's not the kind of mystery you want to create. Instead, the key is to pull back with grace, to shift your energy inward without creating a sense of rejection. You want him to feel your absence, but not in a way that makes him feel pushed away. Start by focusing on yourself. Let your life become full of things that light you up, whether it's passions, hobbies, time with friends, or simply enjoying your own company. This isn't about pretending you don't care. It's about showing that your worth isn't tied to his attention. When you invest in yourself, when you start thriving independently, it naturally makes you more alluring. Your energy shifts. You stop being the person who always chases. Instead, you become someone who's busy living her life, someone who is emotionally whole on her own. It's not about playing games. It's about creating a space that makes him want to fill it. When you pull back, let him feel your absence. But don't make him feel rejected. There's a fine line between pulling away and pushing him out. When you pull back with grace, he'll feel the void, but he won't take it personally. He'll just realize something's missing. And the more he feels that, the more he'll start to wonder why. Self-worth is the secret sauce. When you value yourself enough to let go of constant attention and give yourself the space to grow, you become magnetic. Mystery is born from the space you create. And mystery, as you've learned, is irresistibly magnetic. You don't need to play games to make him chase. Just focus on yourself, let him feel the absence, and watch how that turns into a pull he can't ignore. Real example, a woman who stopped chasing, and he came back. She had always been there, always available. She'd send the first text, plan the dates, and always check in to make sure he was okay. He knew she was there, but somehow, he never seemed to feel it. She was just always around. But something shifted. One day, she realized that her constant pursuit was starting to drain her. She wasn't giving herself the chance to grow, to breathe. So, she made a decision. A small but powerful one. She stopped chasing. At first, it felt odd, uncomfortable. She held back from texting first, from planning every encounter. Instead, she focused on her own life. She reconnected with her passions, spent more time with her friends, and gave herself the attention she had been giving him. Days passed. She didn't reach out. She wasn't cold, but she wasn't always the one chasing. And somewhere in that silence, something unexpected happened. He noticed. At first, it was subtle. He'd catch himself wondering why she hadn't texted, why she didn't ask to hang out like she used to. He'd scroll through his phone, half hoping for a message, half wondering if she was still thinking about him. It wasn't just the lack of communication. It was the sudden distance. He felt it, and that feeling of something missing, something he hadn't created, drove him to act. He reached out, slowly at first, testing the waters. But with each message, he started to realize how much he missed her energy, her presence. What he didn't realize was that it wasn't her absence that had changed things. It was the shift in her energy. She wasn't putting him first anymore. She was putting herself first. And that made her seem different, more intriguing. He could feel that. It wasn't that she stopped caring. It was that she stopped overextending herself. And for the first time, he started to see her in a way he hadn't before. She became a puzzle he wanted to solve. She became a challenge. And challenges, well, they have a way of drawing people in. That's when he came back. He had to. Because when she made herself scarce, he realized just how much he wanted her. Takeaway plus final truth bomb. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of making someone chase you. We've all heard the advice. Pull back, be elusive, make him want you more. And while there's some truth in it, it misses the bigger picture. Because here's the reality. It's not about making him chase. It's about becoming someone he never wants to lose. When you focus on the chase, you're playing a game. And games are fun for a while, but they always come with an expiration date. Eventually, the novelty fades. But when you shift your focus from trying to make him want you to simply being someone who's worth wanting, that's where the real power lies. You see, when you're emotionally available, but also emotionally independent, when you invest in your own life and growth, you don't have to chase. You just become someone who naturally commands attention. Not because you're playing hard to get, but because your life has depth, mystery, and value. When you're genuinely focused on yourself, when you put energy into your passions, your friendships, and your goals, you radiate something magnetic. People want to be around that. And it's not about keeping them on their toes. It's about letting them see the kind of person they could lose if they don't step up. Here's the final truth bomb. The most attractive thing about you isn't your looks, your style, or how well you can play the game. It's your self-worth. When you believe in your own value, when you don't chase, when you don't settle, when you know that your time and energy are precious, that's when you stop being an option and become the choice. So next time you find yourself wondering how to make him chase, remember this. It's not about running after him. It's about becoming someone so irreplaceable that losing you is the last thing on his mind. And that, my friend, is the real power. Here's the truth. It's not about playing hard to get, and it's certainly not about making someone chase you. The real secret is becoming someone they never want to lose. When you shift your focus from trying to get attention to genuinely valuing yourself, that's when the real magic happens. Suddenly, you're no longer an option. They see you as the one. Now, if this idea hit you hard, if it made you rethink the way you approach relationships, then stick around. What you've just learned is just one piece of the puzzle. There's so much more beneath the surface, so many psychological triggers that affect attraction, desire, and connection. It's not just about the chase. It's about becoming the kind of person who commands respect, attention, and desire without even trying. The way we connect with others, the way we keep them engaged, it all comes down to something deeper, something that goes beyond games or tactics. It's the power of self-worth, the pull of mystery, and the undeniable force that comes when you stop chasing and start living authentically. If you're ready to keep uncovering these hidden truths, to learn what makes relationships work on a deeper level, then you're in the right place. Hit subscribe and join the journey, because trust me, what's coming next will blow your mind. We're just getting started. So, if you're ready to crack the code of human connection and make your relationships more powerful than ever, don't wait. Subscribe now, and let's dive deeper into the mysteries of the heart and the brain together.